The other conversation was with an atheist that comes in regularly. It gets a bit frustrating talking to the atheists because they've heard the gospel so many times, but their eyes have still got the scales on and their ears are still missing because they are still not willing to listen and see the evidence that's before them.
I had a good conversation tonight with a guy named Matt. At first he said there was no God, he didn't believe in a God, because he said he has no reason to believe in it. So I gave him a few evidences. I just pointed him to the creation. I said, look, this needs a creator, and so on, and things along those lines. And he's like, that makes perfect sense to me. There must be a God. And so from there I then went and talked about like what happens to us after we die and how there's a coming judgment, and went through the law and showed him how he had sinned against God and that he wasn't deserving of going to heaven but instead deserving of going to hell. He recognized that, and so I shared the gospel then with him, explaining how Christ has died on the cross to pay for the sins of all those who repent and believe in him. And what it boiled down to is like he kept bringing up some objections, like he said, oh, but you know, this whole religion thing is not for me. I'll think about it when it comes. And so I asked him the question, is the real reason why you don't want to repent and trust in Jesus, is it because you love the sin? And he thought for a moment and he said, yeah, that's the reason. I just don't want to give it up. And so I just shared with him a few things about how sin is not actually good at all. It hasn't benefited him. In fact, sin, even though it might bring momentary pleasure, all that it does is breed the desire for more sin, and in fact, it leaves you feeling unsatisfied at the end of it. He recognized that, and so he said, I've got some thinking to do tonight. And so I guess what we can do is just pray for him. So I encourage you to pray for Matt. Pray that he'll start reading his Bible and that God might save him for his glory. And overall, it was a very good night, and so to God alone be the glory.